So how do you feel? Are you ready?
We're getting there. We're getting there. It's a process. As I tell the team, it's step by step, but you want to keep making progress.
Your training career, your coaching career started when you were 23 or something like this, yes? Why so early?
Well, in the United States, when you finish college, you hopefully can get started on your next career. In my case, I had the opportunity to continue playing or get started in coaching. I felt my future was much more so in coaching than in playing, so I was fortunate that I had an opportunity to start coaching right after I finished college.
Mm-hmm. And in college, did you play basketball?
I did. I played for 4 years. I started out at a school, Washington State University, which is a big university. It was all the way across the country from where I lived. I lived on the East Coast, and Washington State was on the West Coast. And then I transferred closer to home to a school in Washington, D.C. called American University, and I played there my last 3 years.
And your brother is a basketball coach too, yes?
Right now, he's a television personality. He is on ESPN, one of their college basketball analysts. But yes, he was a very, very successful college head coach at 3 different universities. Won a lot of games and excellent coach.
And you have a 15 years gap in coaching career. Why?
When I was in the NBA as an assistant, I had the opportunity to move into the management side. So after 3 years as an NBA assistant, I had a chance to get into management, first as a scout, then as the director of player personnel, and then I was a vice president, and then became a general manager. So I had a chance to just see what the other side of it was like in building a team, and I enjoyed that.
What is more interesting, to work with famous, talented basketball players or with some growing stars?
You know, I enjoy both. I love coaching, and I've had wonderful experiences working with players that became NBA Hall of Fame players. But I also have enjoyed working with young players that are developing. A great feeling that for 5 months I spent time with a young man, and he was able to gain confidence and improve and make his men's national team. So I like talented players, but I also love motivated players.
There are no more American coaches in the VTB league. Why? They don't want to coach here, or they are not called to do it?
I think it's hard for American coaches to find opportunities internationally. You know, first off, many pursue jobs in the United States, whether it's college or professional, but there's a lot of colleges. So many pursue that. And the few that are interested in international basketball just find it hard to get into it. It's not easy. There aren't that many teams. There are a lot of good foreign coaches, a lot of good coaches from countries that they don't need to find American coaches. So I've been lucky. I got my foot in the door in South America, and then was able to get an opportunity in Israel, and I've had some success. So it's opened up another door, and I'm excited about this door here in Saratoga.
Would you like in future to work in some combined team?
Like a national team, you mean?
Yes.
Yes. I enjoyed that in South America with the Venezuelan team, and would love an opportunity again to work with a national team.
What are the differences between American basketball and Russian?
You know, basketball, I believe, is pretty much the same everywhere. There are some tactical differences. You know, if you're talking about college versus professional basketball, the shot clock is different. The number of timeouts you're allowed is different. there are a couple of rules that are a little different. In professional basketball, the NBA versus international, again, the shot clock is the same, but there are defensive rules that are different. There's illegal defense in the NBA. There's no illegal defense in international ball. Probably the biggest difference is right now in international basketball, if you can't guard a pick and roll, you lose. Because every time down the floor, there's a ball screen in the middle or a ball screen on the side. The NBA is starting to have the same look. There are NBA teams that have now stolen from international basketball. Used to be the other way around. International people stole from the NBA. Now it's the reverse. So the basketball is very, very high quality in Russia and internationally.
What are your achievements that you are proud most of?
I have a lot of things that I feel great about, a lot of experiences that I feel great about. There are really too many to mention, but some would include being part of a college coaching staff when I was very young that made it all the way to the final 8 of the NCAA championships. One of my first assistant coaching job at St. Joseph's College in Philadelphia. And then when I was part of some NBA teams, I had a chance to work with Hall of Fame players like Patrick Ewing. I had a chance when I was with the Trailblazers to come to Europe and bring Drazen Petrovic back to the NBA with the Portland Trailblazers. So the experience of traveling internationally and being involved with a player like Drazen Petrovic. In Portland, we had great teams. We were in the NBA Finals twice, so to just be part of that was incredible. When I was in college again, I got a chance to help develop some players that have gone on to make a lot of money playing internationally and then become a head coach and have a team go to the NCAA tournament, winning a championship in Israel against Maccabi Tel Aviv, coaching in Jerusalem and having a team get to the final 8 of EuroCup. But it's more the people that you meet and the players you get to work with that are more meaningful to me.
And what experience can you name the most valuable? Maybe it was not positive, but valuable, really.
It's interesting. I think you learn from good things and you learn from bad things. My first coach, my mentor, he taught me to never be too up and never be too down, be balanced. I remember that, so when we win a big game and everybody thinks we'll never lose again, I remember it. Don't get crazy, If we lose a game and everybody's down, I remember to stay even. It's just over time you come to learn different things. There's a famous quote from a former basketball player, Bill Bradley, who said, "Defeat has a richness of experience all its own." So you learn from defeat. And hopefully you don't have to learn too much and you win enough games, but you have to learn from defeat, sure.
You and Автодора Basketball Club, how was it? How did you get into?
Well, I have a fellow who helps me as an agent, and he was aware of things in Автодора. He's had some players play here, and he knew there would be an opening after the season, and I think he brought my name to the attention of the club, and they showed some interest. So we began discussing it, and I spent some time with President Rodionov on Skype, and we talked about the club, and we came to an understanding, and it was an opportunity that I felt was exciting. The idea of the VTB and, at that time, possibly EuroCup. I was looking for that. I was looking for something that was really competitive, a high-level league and a second competition. So to me, the VTB is one of the best leagues in the world, and EuroCup is a great competition. So I love that. That's why I do it. I don't want to coach somewhere where it's not, really competitive, where you have to challenge yourself.
Now you are here in Saratov, you saw all our players. Let's speak about young players first. So there are several of them, and you've already said to me that you expect much from Artem Klimenko, for example. So a little bit about each of the young players.
Artem, I call him Artsy. I have to have nicknames for the players because sometimes it's hard for me to pronounce correctly some of their names. So they're making it easy on me. They accept some nicknames. But Artsy is a good prospect. He can run. He's tall. He seems motivated. And he's a developing player. So a lot of it is up to him. But he's going to get opportunities this year to play a bigger role than he ever has, because there is no Fisenko here. So our three big players, we have two Artems. So I have Artsy and Zabelin is Z. So Artsy and Z, those two guys, and Alan, those three are going to have to fill that center spot. Maybe sometimes two of them will play at the same time, but Artsy certainly will have a big role.
What about newcomers from America, Brooks and Armstead? What can you say about them?
Well, Jeff Brooks is a very smart, solid player. He's unselfish. He can score, but he doesn't force things. I like those kind of players that understand to pass the ball to the open man, to have the patience to wait for opportunities, and also play defense. We're going to ask him to be more aggressive than he was last year in Sassari. He played with three guards that like to shoot, so he didn't get many shots. We need him to be more aggressive and try to score more than he did last year. But he's a good all-around player. He's never played full-time as a small forward, and we're going to use him primarily in that position. But I've known Jeff since he was 17, 18 years old, and I've seen him grow as a player, from a high school player to a college player, and then followed his career in Italy. I believe this year can be a year where he takes a big jump as a player, and he wants to do that. He wants that challenge, and I know people have expectations, but he too wanted to play in the VTB and Eurocup and the challenge of being in this market to see how he would do. Malcolm is a very crafty ball handler, can penetrate, is deceptively quick. I know he looks a little bit stocky, his build, it's not lean, but he's quick. And he has a very good handle. He can get by people. He's proven he can penetrate, he's proven he can score, he can defend, but this is a jump up for him too. The Adriatic League is good, playing in Slovenia is good, but he knows that this is another step. So this will be a challenge for him, but we need him to be good. We need him to be real good. He's probably the best penetrator on our team, the best guy at being able to beat his man. And you need to have somebody that can do that can force teams to have to help. So he's going to grow, hopefully, into a mature player who not only can score, but help other people as well. And we need him to be that kind of player.
Speaking about American players, we have Travis Peterson and Jeremy Chappell. Everybody knows them here in Saratov, and they are absolutely favorites for fans. So what can you say about them and their playing?
Well, Jeremy, he's a strong physical guard who has a nice touch. And he's an aggressive defender. Capable of playing as a big guard, or even with his strength matching up against small forwards. So he's versatile, which is good. And he knows the VTB. He's comfortable here, and we need him to have another strong season, maybe even more so than last year. Because last year you had, Fortson and Fisenko, and they drew a lot of attention. So things were a little bit easier for Jeremy and Travis. This year there's more attention on them. With Travis, he's only been here a week, and I'm impressed with him. He can shoot, he's smart, he understands the game, he's skilled. So he's one of those players that has skill, but also understands and knows how to make things a little bit easier for himself by being one step ahead of the action, which is good. But he's your prototype stretch four-man that can shoot and play away from the basket, but also do some damage around the basket.
And what about Russian guys? Who, in your opinion, will be the most successful this season?
Well, we need those three big guys to all contribute, for sure. And then I really expect, again, I have nicknames. Evgeny, I call him E, make it easier for me. I expect E. Kolesnikov to have a good year. He's really a solid player. I'm very happy that we have him. He fits in well with the other players. He doesn't need the ball all the time. He understands how to move without the ball. He works on defense. He's unselfish, and he can shoot. So he has a lot to offer, and I anticipate he'll have a very big role with the team. After E, it's up to the other guys to earn, a spot in the rotation. In the backcourt, Victor Kashin and Ivan Ruzetsky, okay, those two guys are battling to see who can play maybe some minutes as one of our perimeter backups. And Victor's been playing pretty well. Alex, he's done a good job up front as one of the power forwards, and he had a chance to play a lot before Travis got here. So now he's got a little more of a challenge to find minutes, but he works every day. And then we have to wait and see about Lukashov and Tamik Bekiev. I like the fact that he's fast. He can run. He plays the same position as Jeff, so he's going to have to, be productive when he gets his chance. He's got to play good defense. He's got to run the court. He's got to play without making mistakes, and hopefully make an open shot, open three. But I like the fact that he's fast, that he runs the court well, and he plays defense.
And when the game is on and your team is playing, what does a coach feel, and what does he thinks when the game is on and you're standing and watching it? What is going on with the coach? It's very interesting.
Well, you're watching closely. You're trying to see, tactically, where you can take advantage of a matchup, how you have to guard and make adjustments to something the other team is doing. Sometimes it's not an adjustment of changing, it's just an adjustment of refocusing and doing better what you're trying to do. But you're trying to have your finger on the pulse of the game. So you can hopefully be one step ahead of the other team in making slight changes, or sometimes you have to make a drastic change. You have to do something, to really just change the momentum of a game. But you just have to be observant. You have to be calm. You have to be very, very involved and sharp. You have to make decisive decisions. You have to be able to be clear and concise in how you communicate with your players. And you have to always be encouraging them to stay positive. And you can't allow players to drop their heads and feel sorry for themselves. We talk about that a lot. No self-pity. The other team dunks on you, you can't drop your head and feel sad. You have to just pick yourself up and attack them. I always tell my teams, when you walk out on the court to start the game, stand as tall as you can be and look them right in the eye. And if they're good enough to beat you, fine, but not because you're afraid. You know, look them right in the eye. Say, if you can beat us, fine, but you know you're going to have to beat me man to man. If you approach it that way, I can accept what happens, but you know, not if you are afraid. You can't be afraid. You have to be aggressive and attack the other team.
Speaking about you being in Saratov, how do you find the city?
Well, because we've been practicing twice every day, I haven't seen much. I want to get around. I want to see. I know that the city has culture. I know the city has a symphony. I know, you know, there are museums to go to. So I haven't had a chance to do it, but you know, I want to. I mean, I've basically been walking from here to practice and walking back, or going to a restaurant. I've probably had too many shawarma over there, but I hope to see more of it. You know, when we get back from Spain, I'll move into an apartment, and I would like it to be somewhere near the center, so I have a little better chance to walk around and see more of the city. But yeah, I want to get out and get a sense of the community, get a sense of the city, because that's one of the unique things about coaching in another country. You know, you get to experience living in a different culture. That's living. That's living. You know, some people never leave their home city, their hometown. I think this is a great opportunity to be able to experience life in other countries, to live globally. And I have children that have traveled. My two children have traveled all over the world and lived in different countries, and I think it's great.
What are they doing in their life?
I have a daughter who's 24, and she is in advertising in New York City, in strategy of an advertising company. My son has been a teacher, has been a little bit in politics, campaigning for another politician, and now is living in New York City. He's living with his girlfriend, who is going to graduate school, and he has just spent 4 years out of the country teaching English, and he also owns a bar in another country. So he's an entrepreneur who now is in New York City. So very proud of him. He's 29. So I have 2 old kids. My wife is back in Virginia, and she helps as the director of an allied health programming for a university. She runs an academic aspect of an online university. So she's a lot smarter than me. You know, I became a coach. She's very smart, so she's helping in the world of education.
Will she come to you here?
She'll visit. She's involved in a very big project at work, which has been stressful and keeps her busy. I'm hoping she may come to Spain for about a week while we're there, but at some point in the winter she'll definitely plan on coming, yeah. She may not be able to stay for much longer than a week or 10 days at a time, but yeah, she's looking forward to coming, yes.
For our fans, can you please tell some wishes just for our fans from you?
Yeah. My goal always is for our team to be as good as we can be, you know, to come as close to our potential as possible. But obviously also people want to hear about how many games are you going to win, or how you're going to do. So if you want to try to find those goals, I certainly hope that we can be in the playoff picture of the VTB. The team came in 7th last year and made the playoffs, and you aspire to do the same thing, to be in the mix, to have a chance to be in the playoffs, to see if you can advance. So that's a goal for sure. And in Eurocup, you certainly would hope to be able to advance to the 2nd round and see how you do. And you know, you don't know yet what the other teams are all about, both in the league or Eurocup, so it's hard to feel super confident you can do both, but you certainly want to shoot for those goals. But you know, the most important thing is step by step every day when we come in the gym, we try to get better. The only way you can do that is if your team connects. And we talk about that a lot. You know, for any team to have success, they have to connect. The players, the 12 players, have to realize that they're in it together, and the power of becoming a real team, of trusting each other, of being unselfish, of working with each other, that's worth a lot of points in a game. To me, that's the most important goal. Can the players come into the gym every day, work to get better, and realize the importance of connecting as a group? That's the secret to being a good team. That if you don't do that, you can't win. Maybe you can beat a bad team, but you can't beat a really good team. For them to get to a comfort level with each other, where they like each other and trust each other and work with each other, and realize unless they do that, we can't have the success we would hope to have, what our fans would want us to have, and that's important, really, really important.